back to another piano expressive session. Let's use this session to look at how to play another articulation on the piano, the slur. But before we do that, just check in with your posture. Make sure your back is straight, your neck is long, your feet are flat on the floor to give you stability, your forearms are angled down towards the keys or level with the keys, and you've got dome-shaped hands, strong curved fingers, and of course those lovely relaxed wrists. And I apologise, my cat has just knocked the tripod. And here's my cat come to say hello. These are all the things that we've been focusing on. Your interaction with the keys, engaging your hearing, moving smoothly between the keys, creating flowing coordinated gestures, engaging your imagination, shaping your phrases, and playing horizontally to move that music forward. We've looked at creating phrases that have a mezzo-staccato articulation and a legato articulation. Today we're going to look at another articulation or way of approaching the keys or playing the keys, and that is the slur. Here's today's little tune, another folk song. If you have a look at the little tune as a whole, you can see that we're reading treble clefs again for both hands, so we'll be playing up here. We have got a F sharp at the beginning of our music, so this little piece is either in the key of G major or E minor. As our first note is an E and our last note is an E, I would suggest that this particular tune is in the key of E minor, so it'll have a little sad sound. We're counting 3 beats in a bar, and the tempo indication is melodious, so we need to make this little tune sing, just like we have for all of our others. We've got alternating playing, left hand first, then right hand, then left hand finishing off. If you have a look at the other text on the page besides the notes, you'll see we've got some curved lines. The second bar we've got a little curved line, that's the slur, we'll talk about that in a moment. And then the other curved lines are our good old legato slurs, indicating that we need to make the notes underneath them smooth, even and connected, or join the sounds up. We've got an MF dynamic marking at the start, and gradually louder and gradually softer markings throughout our music. And if we don't think that that's enough, we might add a few microdynamics of our own. Let's have a look at what's going on with the notes. We're starting off on E with our 4th finger and playing 3 of those on beats 1, 2, 3. In the second bar we've got a G with our 2nd finger, and on the 3rd beat back to the E. That curved line, when it's between 2 notes that are different, is called a slur. The first note is slightly accented and the second note played lightly. When I'm talking about the slur to my younger students, I often call it the drop down, float off technique. Drop and float. So in our first couple of bars, we've got something like this. Following on from that, we've got some notes under a legato slur for our right hand. Starting on A with our 2nd finger, then up to B, 3rd beat C, and then on the next bar, our first note is B with our 3rd finger, and finishing off that bar with a G. I'll play that again. In bar 5, we're going back to C with our 4th finger, B, A, and then in the next bar we're on B with our 3rd finger for 2, and then down to G for 1 beat. And finishing off in that last part, we've got our left hand playing A, G, F sharp, and then finishing off on E, and in the final note, on beat 3 we've got another E. Let's decipher those notes as a whole. Now that we've worked out our little tune, let's have a think about the phrases that might be in the music and how we might shape them to make this tune melodious. It looks to me like we've got 4 ideas or 4 little phrases in this tune. Here's the first one. And then our second one. Third one. And finally, last one. So there are our 4 phrases. The composer's given us quite a bit of information about how to shape them. Our first phrase, we've got a mezzo forte, so a little bit strong to start off with. And then we've got a little slur. So we're actually doing a slight decrescendo at the end there with that little slur. Then in our next phrase, we've got a crescendo and then a diminuendo. For the beginning of that phrase, I'm going to pull it back a little bit on the level of sound, maybe make it an MP, so that when I get louder I've got somewhere to go. If I already start quite deep at a mezzo forte, I might then have to go up into the forte and double F range to get that increase in sound. And for my particular choice for this interpretation, I don't want to get that loud. So I'm going to pull back to an MP and then do a crescendo up to that B by the look of it. And then a little decrescendo at the end there. So at a crescendo sign, you normally need to pull back a little bit so you've got somewhere to go. And vice versa. If you're going to come down a little bit, you need to have quite a deep level of sound in order to have somewhere to come back to. Hello, we've got another visitor. If we have a look at the third phrase, we haven't got anything there from the composer indicating how that should be played. Let's have a look at what we might do. Before that, we have this happening. Nice rounded shape. And we could go a few different ways with this one. I might keep that one quite deep. I think it's the middle of the song. Just pull back a little bit on that G, so maybe have a little bit of an MF happening. And then keep going with the D crescendo at the end there. So I might have a bit of a crescendo happening there towards the main part of our little tune, and then a decrescendo that goes for a couple of bars to end it off that way. So that's the shape to all my phrases. Putting it all together, we have something like this. And we're done. Have a pause and have a play and make your own decisions about how you'd like to shape the 4 phrases in this little folk tune. That's it for this session. Make sure you have a think about what you've learned and become very conscious of incorporating all of these ideas and techniques into the playing of the other pieces in your piano repertoire. See you next time when you'll have the opportunity to create your own expressive tune from a blank canvas.